just wanted to ask, some in PH, until now they're still talking about working with Mahathir again. And
No.
many, I know that's your stand.
Yeah.
But many also have said that PH would not have been able to win in GE14 without Mahathir.
No.
So
that's where I have differed throughout since 2016. But I suppose I was young and nobody would want to really pay attention to a mid-30s,
So yeah, so definitely PH can do this without.
Is this, I mean, that's sometimes my criticism of politicians, but also my criticisms of urban concerned citizens, because there is a lack of information. People sometimes, people say, how could you see things earlier, about Mahathir or and so on. It's not that I have a crystal ball. It's just that I have more data, and I am usually the central person, in the thick of everything, discussing all this discreet and private. So I know what people say internally and what people say outside. It's just that, I have a responsibility to just keep quiet and not rock the boat. So it was obvious if you see, and okay, another thing is that, I believe that people can have arguments left, right, and center, but as best as possible, bring evidence. And the best evidence is data. Because data represents how collective people behave. And so, of course, especially with politicians, because everyone claims they are popular and their party is the strongest. And otherwise, you can argue until the cow goes home. That's part of the reason why politicians don't necessarily like me, because I don't fancy arguing for the sake of arguing. Bring me the number, show me the evidence. I can bite the bullet and make the toughest call, even if that means that I have to go back to my party and cut the losses. But I'd rather do that than pointing fingers is strong and so on. So going back to this Mahathir thing, right? The electoral support and results had clearly shown that PH, every general election, have had a step change in pushing the next boundary. In terms of popular support, in terms of the number of seats that we won, in terms of the public confidence of the ability of DAP and PKR as well as Amanah to become an alternative government. Mahathir was smart enough to read that. He was a seasoned politician. He knew that at the rate things were going, especially after 2013, when Pakatan Rakyat then won the popular votes, it was a matter of time before these people push and cross the line. So I was not against this idea that we have to be as inclusive as possible. I believe that even back then. But I was very apprehensive of bringing them into Pakatan. I had maintained from day one, and I was quite I was basically one of the most senior party leaders in Pakatan then, because I was the Secretary General and Vice President, and Azmin boycotted Pakatan completely. So I was second in command for PKR after President and Kat Wan, So I've maintained that all along, that it's best to have an electoral pact with them, especially when they just don't fit in. You cannot say that you are a Malay party fighting for Malays, but you are part of Pakatan, because this is not us. This is not us. But of course, the decision then was different. It was felt that Mahathir could bring Malay support, and I tracked the numbers every month since 2016. There was nothing that suggested that. There was nothing that suggested having Mahathir on board bring about a wave of Malay support.